Is it clean?
Yeah, it's
Squeaky?
no. There's still some.
Spick
I was-
and span?
I was gonna call it fur, not fur.
Well,
It's,
yeah, it picks up like fuzz or lint of some kind.
yeah, that's one of my dog hairs.
Dog been around your microphone?
No.
Oh, welcome back. Frame Rate Podcast.
Still May, still Star Wars month. Yeah, nothing new has happened.
We didn't change sets. I hope all of you watching at home are proud of us for being able to stay a little put together. Obviously, we have a little less helmets on here, but same space.
Yeah, no, and it's a great space. It's much better than my living room
Yeah.
and the extra bedroom.
The, small beginnings that everyone always starts out with.
So grateful I'm here. Started at the bottom.
I know. We're not going to be billionaires, though, because we didn't start in a garage.
Yeah, we didn't have a cool, catchy name.
Where do people
Hit
that
single.
are in spare bedrooms, where do they end?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Call centers, pest control.
sounds about right.
Anyways, welcome back. Still May, still Star Wars.
Is there an echo in here? I think you said that already.
I know.
What are we talking about today, Tristan?
Welcome back. Still May. No.
Welcome back. Frame Rate Podcast.
Today we're talking about the OG trilogy of Star Wars.
Circa 1977 to
Yeah.
1986.
We're talking about the originals where
We talking about practice.
Jabba the Hutt was
A man.
a man in a...
Fun fact for all of you people who've only watched the re-releases of the original trilogy. There's like so many of them over time, but like the original cut of Star Wars, Jabba the Hutt was just a dude wearing
A fat guy in a wool coat.
Yep. And he spoke English.
Han, my boy.
Yeah. No.
Iwanga Toba Uda. I don't even know that. That sounds Huttese to me.
I almost his little like secretary. I can't remember his name.
Oh, what? Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, Bib Fortuna. The one line. Ewanawanga.
Yeah.
I quote that all the time. There's like no context behind it. Ewanawanga.
When your girlfriend says yes to being your girlfriend. Wanga wanga.
When I have my firstborn, that'll be the first thing I say.
That's gonna be
just tears streaming down my face, holding a firstborn of mine, my own child.
It's gonna be. I'm calling it. First child. Your wife's gonna want to name him Wyatt. And hold on, if you've ever seen Family Guy, when they go to name her Meg, it's like Megan or it's like Meg. I think it's Megan. And Peter takes the birth certificate, erases like the AN, and writes Megatron. So you're gonna be like Wyatt. Wanga wanga.
What kind of nickname would they have at school?
Yes. Wanna wanga Stringham here?
Ewanawanga. Actually, teacher, it's pronounced Ewanawanga. Gonna have to teach them how to Mongolian throat sing when they're little.
Hey, which is also popular in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Shout out Jedi Fallen Order.
Shout out the Who, H-U. Not W-H.
Not the Who that you're thinking of. Not the one that's actually known.
Yeah, the Mongolian throat singing band.
Anyways, welcome back. It's still May. It's still Star.
Oh my gosh.
No, we're talking about the original trilogy.
Yes, they know that.
Where are we going to start? We've already started talking about
Probably
the third
the
movie.
Probably at the beginning.
Well, we've been quoting the third.
The title scroll. That's what we're doing right now. I'm not one of those guys that have those.
And the entire title scroll is
memorized.
just this entire conversation. Wanga wanga.
That would be fun. There's a chance that I might make the opening transcript, the beginning of this episode, or maybe like over this part. I'll put it over our. Just a title screen. Wanga wanga over and over again. We need. Do you want to look up one who played Bib Fortuna and two if they're still around?
Yes.
We want to talk about A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, but not in like a story time, sit down, tell everyone what happened. We just want to talk about the movies because like they're so beloved. Like A New Hope might be one of, if not, well, I don't know. It definitely is in the conversation. That could be a different conversation for another time, but it's probably in the conversation for most influential sci-fi movie of all time.
I'm sorry, I checked out of the conversation. I was looking this up. The original one was
more than one?
Yes, one of them was the one that's in The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Right. The first one is Michael Carter. He's currently 77 years old. So he's probably more of like a wonga wonga.
I bet he still got it in him.
Right down here.
It's okay, I got it for you.
Wonga wonga.
You have a scarf. Wonga wonga. Zaba.
And then the other one is Matthew Wood.
Oh, I know Matthew Wood. He's the voice of General Grievous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
So, I don't know where you were going with that. Yes, they're both still alive.
We'll get him
a cameo.
Yeah. Welcome everybody, Bib Fortuna. Like the most scuffed costume possible because we don't have a makeup team.
It's like paper mache.
It's an actual scarf.
Paper mache
like,
and our
like Halloween
your
vampire teeth.
Your sister and my wife on makeup.
You guys make him look like this. Keep in mind, this is the guy who looked like this.
Can you make him look like a butt? Hey, that's what.
Can you get an earthworm out of his head, wrapped around his neck?
He has to have two bulbous figures right here. Oh, great. What am I talking about with you guys? Nothing. Your entire line for the entire podcast. No, Star Wars is very beloved, and especially these ones, like you said. The original trilogy obviously has captured everybody's hearts.
Everything is compared to them, which is a blessing and a curse, like we've talked about before.
Yeah, but they're just good, right? Like, I fell in love with them from a kid. I didn't really know much about them.
I know it's one of those. It's kind of like beautiful in a way, just like all of Star Wars. How like it's really appealing to young people and to kids because it's like exciting.
It's kind of like just what you imagine as a kid, anyways.
Yeah, it's like this is the kind of like stories I play out in my backyard with sticks.
Yeah,
and like now I play out this
or Nerf guns.
But then as you grow up, you're like, wow, this is like.
There's some deeper stuff to this.
Yeah, this is cool and beautiful.
Yeah, there really is something to kissing your sister. No. Kidding.
Sure.
Han Solo is all of us.
Who's gruffy looking?
You and Luke aren't we're brother and sister. And he's like,
come here.
Yeah, well, they didn't know. When in Rome.
When in Alabama. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, but I guess highlights from each of the films to start out. That's really hard for me. I mean,
I guess here, if we want to actually kind of have like a legit, like good conversation, let's talk about the things that we do not like.
Okay. I don't like how little lightsaber battles there are. That's like the staple piece of Star Wars, and the first one kind of blows because
I
it's
offer my rebuttal. I mean, I'll let you finish, but you probably already know what I'd probably say.
the first one kind of blows because you've got like 85-year-old Alec Guinness.
Yeah. Obviously, with the lore that's expanded on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, you're like, why are these guys just...
Strike me down, Darth.
You strike me down and become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. You know, like, before we knew exactly what he meant by that, like, what was George Lucas thinking? Like, was Obi-Wan just, like, lying? Or like, don't kill me. You're gonna regret it.
Hold on, wait, hold on.
I'm calling his bluff.
Luke is not. No, he's not here yet, Darth.
He has more trauma. You know, just yesterday, Darth, he saw the burnt crisp skeletons of his aunt and uncle.
Only people he's ever known.
Only family he's ever had, at least that he knows about.
And now he's grown an attachment to me, and he's known me for approximately 5 hours and a ham sandwich.
Yeah, I told him to put on this helmet that you couldn't see out of.
I shot him with lasers.
If it was more like this.
Strike me down, Darth.
Like Daffy Duck. He's like older and British.
I can't even try to do a Daffy Duck.
Well, just do your Alec Guinness. It's rabbit season.
Inconceivable.
What?
Sorry.
That's not Daffy.
I know. No, that's probably the thing that I like. I at least
Like for all three, there's not good enough, or like not enough, or not good enough. Obviously, probably a mix of both with what you were.
For all
with.
three, yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess it just depends. If that's the only, because I had seen the prequels, like as a kid, I've always had that beef because the prequels, like lightsaber battles, are so cool.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess if I would have been in the 70s and 80s when they came out, then I would have been like, oh yeah, these are just fine.
Yeah. Obviously, knowing today and what everything evolved into, like effects were hard and expensive.
Yeah.
They had to go frame by frame on the film to make the lightsabers look the way they did.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and they had to
then-
use reflective tape too,
Yeah.
right? So and they were very limited.
and you know, they didn't have super sturdy materials to use for everything. But
Mhm.
like at the same time, if you're really thinking about it, everybody who uses a lightsaber in the original trilogy, they're all, other than Luke, old, retired pretty much.
Yeah.
Darth is weak. His suit makes him bad at everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke was trained by these old retired guys who didn't really want anything to do with it anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point.
here's how you swing a lightsaber, Luke. This will be an Olympic sport one day.
Am I doing this right? No.
Here, let me show you a hologram of what I was like back in my prime. Flipping over people.
Wow, he's really special. Yeah, he was the best we had. Well, my master can't do that. We got screwed, man. My guy sucks. You mean to tell me this guy?
Which I guess only adds to why the sequel lightsaber battles also sucked.
Mm-hmm.
They all didn't know what they were doing. Anyway.
Well, there's actually there's a theory about that.
What else do you not like about the original trilogy?
I don't know. Okay. What do you not like?
In
Boring. Sorry.
that's today's episode. No, just in certain aspects of some of them, like sometimes it does feel like the prequel trilogy is necessary for complete understanding,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously just from the original trilogy standpoint, it is neat to see the like redemption, and
Mhm.
the growth of Luke,
Yeah.
the maturity of Luke, and the redemption of his father.
Mm-hmm.
But like in some instances it just feels like it's like broken up a bit too much because like we hardly know anything about Darth Vader in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Other than, oh, this guy's an intimidating and an authoritative presence at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're part of the Rebel Alliance, not a traitor. You know, whatever. And then like
take him away.
In Empire Strikes Back, we're like, oh my gosh, that's Luke's dad?
Yeah.
Crazy. And then in Return of the Jedi, then all of a sudden, like the old guy in a hood we saw in Empire Strikes Back, we're like, oh, is this is Darth Vader's master? Wow, this guy must be crazy. We finally like get not much exposition into him. We're just like, oh, he's evil guy, shoots lightning out of his fingers. And now Darth Vader's good because Luke wants him to be.
The redemption of Anakin without the prequels doesn't hit as hard for me.
No, it doesn't feel as complete.
Yeah.
We don't understand him as much.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm grateful that we have.
Yeah.
More.
Despite all of their flaws, the prequels really highlight the very small details that George Lucas was trying to do.
Yeah, and I guess it's like really petty of me, and I guess kind of a little immature for me to like my qualms with the original trilogy being like how its plot points aren't as fulfilled without the ones that came later.
Mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that they were planned to come later anyway, but like but I shouldn't feel that way, given that on its own it's still good.
Yeah, it is slow.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean,
pacing,
so was everything.
Pacing, it's slow.
A lot of them. Back then dealt like it was kind of like a.
It's very storytelling-esque, right? It's like you're watching someone
it was
read
really
a book.
Easy to tell when it was a new act.
Yeah. Well, and
it's a lot more blended now.
That was gonna say, like now, that I would actually say that that's probably one of my biggest quarrels with movies nowadays.
It's harder to tell.
Just to step out of the Star Wars for like 5 seconds. Nowadays, I have a hard time with movies because they don't tell a story because they're trying to cram so much into this tiny can that like you have movies like Infinity War and Endgame, which are really good, right? But there's so much going on that you're like, what's happening? Why is this important? Right? Like they're just trying to cram so much into 2 hours versus like I do appreciate that, not with just Star Wars, but like any old movie that I watch, like pre 97, right? Like the original Jurassic Parks, right? They like, it's like you're watching a physical reading of an audiobook, right? Like the acts, you can see where there's chapters.
Yeah.
Right.
I think part of that, I guess, last thing before we go back into Star Wars, just the formula for movie making today has just shaped into like a keep your attention kind of a thing, which I guess, why Martin Scorsese says that like there's hardly cinema is so different in Marvel movies and cinema and all that. And because like they're still, making movies based off of books and video games and turn them into these cinematic experiences.
Right.
But it's in a way that's difficult to make it flow the way that like the book does.
Yeah.
Because, books are a lot longer of a process, which is why like with longer ones like Harry Potter and Hunger Games and all that, they make a lot more movies. But it's hard to reach that with newer ones where you want to tell that kind of story in one.
But you also want to keep people like in the movie in every single scene that they're seeing, right? Like you either have to pick one or the other. And I'm not like saying that that's a bad thing either, because I am definitely a fan for like the awesome visuals, right? But sometimes I wish that they would like give us good visuals. I think that's why I like Avatar so much from James Cameron. It's because he gives us really good visuals, but the movies are telling a story, right?
You feel like you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, like there's not so much going on that you're like, wow, they hit point A, A1, A2, A3. We still got to get to C, right? And there's like 14 points in between. Like he just goes A, chapter 1, chapter 2, right? It's good flow, and it's good to look at.
3+ hours.
Right. But
you know.
anyways, so that's kind of that was, I guess, not necessarily my rebuttal, but that's kind of like, that's something,
Addition, right?
that's something that I do like about the original trilogy. That I noticed that like isn't kind of there in like the sequel trilogy. And no offense to the prequels, it's not there in the prequels, right? The prequels have so much stuff crammed in them. That's part of the reason why like so many people like they're so divisive still, is because there's
Pacing's not great.
so much put in there where if you're not a Star Wars nerd like us two, you watch the prequels and you're like,
Yeah, Attack of the Clones alone, like the classic Star Wars PowerPoint transitions, there's one like constantly.
yeah.
In that one, like I noticed that in my most recent rewatch,
and
I was
each
like,
one
wow,
of them.
How did I have any sort of sensory input as a child?
Well, and each one of them is a new
squares.
It's a new it's a whole new storyline, right?
Three different plots going on.
Obi-Wan, Anakin, Jedi Council, Obi-Wan, Jedi Council,
Padme.
Right. Like there's so much going on that if you're not like a Star Wars fan, that you're just like, I'm just here because I love this movie, you're not gonna like it. So I think that's probably why the the original trilogy is universally so loved by everyone, that even the two movies that aren't the good ones in that trilogy are still significantly better from a storyline aspect than any of the other 9.
I guess it's got me thinking, like, there doesn't really have that many subplots in many of them.
There's like one direct storyline.
Like there's usually like probably two. There's usually 2 subplots that are both connected in a way. Like you start with New Hope with Leia, and then you cut to Luke on Tatooine, and then eventually they're like very quickly, you know, they become one with 3PO and R2D2 becoming one with becoming one with Luke. They join up with Luke, and Leia is shown, and then that sets Luke on his path to merge the two, and then.
I think the only time that the storylines are like super separate for almost the entirety of the movie, the only time is Empire Strikes Back. I don't know why that was blinking there, right? Because Luke's just not there until the last, like, because you watch Luke and you watch Leia and Han.
Yeah, it like even in the beginning, they're at the same place, but Luke is not there because he's you know, he hasn't come back from a mission. Where is he?
Sleeping in a wampa. Not a wampa.
No, that's it.
Is it? No, the wampa. I thought the wampa was the abominable snowman. He sleeps in the.
I thought that's what you meant.
No, what does he sleep in?
Tauntaun.
He doesn't really sleep in it. Han Solo just puts him in there.
Well, then he probably sleeps.
Yeah.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside. My family quotes that all the time. Anyone in my family lets one rip. I thought they smelled bad on the outside. So good.
So, I think Return of the Jedi also is kind of separate a little bit.
Yeah, they all
it's
like
not
they
as separate,
indicate
though.
like how like Luke and his journey with the Jedi and the rebellion and their journey against the Empire, and how those two merge into one.
Have a common goal.
Yeah. And then Emperor Strikes Back.
Yeah, think of the prequel trilogy and even the sequel trilogy. Like, you've got Anakin, you've got Obi-Wan, you've got the clones, you've got Count Dooku, you've got the Sith, you've got General Grievous, you've got Palpatine. Anakin is a slave, right?
Not a slave, I'm a person. My name is Anakin.
Padme is a queen. Padme is a senator.
Padme is Keira Knightley?
There's so much. And then the sequel trilogy, I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot about these. I've watched these all once. You've got Finn. You've got Captain Phasma. You've got Kylo Ren. You've got the Knights of Ren. You've got Daisy Ridley. You've got Luke. You've got Leia. You've got Han. You've got the droids. That's all the first movie.
He's seen Star Wars.
That's all.
He knows
the Force Awakens.
He's your guy.
That's not even talking
who was in The Force Awakens? You got Finn. You got Captain Phasma. You got
That's not even talking about the slave horses and slave children that they don't free at the end of The Last Jedi. And the one random kid who pulls the broom, and that's the only time they ever touch on it.
And he has the Jedi Order ring on.
Oh! That for sure was stolen the moment that he was off scene. Some other kid was
those kids. I bet they could have made. Oh man, don't remind them about that. They'll make a new series.
No, they'll make the series about the weird horse creatures.
The races. You ever seen the pod racing on Tatooine? No, I prefer the Kentucky Derby.
Those horses are in danger. Not the slave children, though. That's okay. They're probably getting paid pretty hefty to sweep that floor. Anyways, original trilogy. That's something I do actually enjoy a lot. Is that it's
the horses?
No, original trilogy. That it's just like there's not so many branches like that. You're trying to keep track of like 8 different stories going on. You're just kind of like, oh,
yeah. It's also like fun.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like fun when you're watching it. Obviously, like I can't know what it was like to go see it in 1977 when it first came out, but like
I'd imagine it was refreshing.
Yeah, people loved it because it was like a new take on like a new scenario, and it like people at the time had a mindset of like they all had a common goal of like sticking it to the man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Star Wars was all about.
Mm-hmm.
At least the way it was interpreted then. Obviously, it can be seen in so many different ways. Was it Lucas or Filoni that said that like any story is a Star Wars story?
I think that was Lucas.
Because it just works that way.
Yeah.
Like any genre can be put into Star Wars and it'll work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it properly.
That's kind of the reason why I enjoy the original trilogy so much. Like, again, it's just simple. I think you were saying that it was fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's the best way to describe it, right? Like, it's fun and it's fresh, right? Even watching Star Wars now, right? And watching all the content that we have, the original trilogy always is just like a freshen up. Like, oh, this room stinks. Original trilogy, right? If it's a little dull in here.
Crockpot dinner. Michelin star.
I was gonna actually Febreze.
Crockpot dinner, Febreze. This will really make it better. Remember those old Febreze commercials where they would like kidnap people, like fill the car with pizza, but then have the one Febreze thing? Is that pine?
Yes.
Ain't no way those were real.
But yeah, right? Like it's just easy to go back to. And I think that's why sometimes I think it lacks on my excitability score, because it's just like it's neutral, right? It's not like terrible. It's not amazing, right? In like certain scenes, I should say, right? Like its lightsaber battles aren't bad. They're not great, right? So it's just like, okay, I'm just watching like an average movie experience here. I'm not going to be like, whew, greatest thing I've ever seen.
Did you mean to whistle while you did that?
No, I didn't.
That was great.
But I don't know if that's making any sense, but that's kind of how I view them, where I'm like, I know that if I watch the original trilogy, I'm not going to be upset and I'm not going to be let down, but I'm also not going to leave there like, wow, this is the greatest 3 hours of my life.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? I don't know if you're going to be able to have like an answer put together right off the bat.
Okay.
But how important to you are lightsaber battles in Star Wars media?
Very important.
Like if it's not included like on purpose, is that a problem? Maybe not like a problem, but like it's just not as good to you?
Um, I would, for me, I would say so. Like, cause I mean, I would say so. I would say that they're very important to me. I grew up as a kid, like, always wanting one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted one
Who
so bad that I got like one of the ones that nerds have that are like, the whole bells and whistles.
I do too, but they
Like,
don't work anymore.
I would say that
So
they're
much I
very
loved it.
important to me just because like as a kid I grew up and that was something that I was captivated by, right? Cuz that's cool. What's not cool about a light up like sword, you know? So I wouldn't say that it's like if it doesn't have lightsaber fights in there or like any of that, then it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
But if it has them in there, then I'm like, yeah, okay, this feels a little more like Star Wars, right? And like I like Rogue One, I love Rogue One, and that you only see a lightsaber when Darth Vader has his hall scene, and I think that that's probably why I think that hall scene is so good is because you go the entire movie like it's just good from like a standalone basis. But you like when you're watching the movie, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, where is it? Where's the Star Wars thing, right? And there's a lot of Star Wars things in there, right? They've got X-wings and like stormtroopers and AT-ATs, right? But you're looking for that Star Wars thing, right? And then Vader has his hallway scene and he ignites his lightsaber in the dark hallway. And you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
Right? So I would say that, like, it doesn't have to have them to be good. But when it does have them, I immediately am like, okay, I like this because, I have to give it some credit. There's the thing that's going to captivate me because that's what I like.
I mean, not to take it to like I guess the most extreme, but like if it has it, it adds to it. It can still be good without it.
Mm-hmm.
But like if it has it, but it doesn't do it right, I guess like to your liking of doing it right, does that ruin it? The whole project?
Give me like an example.
Kylo Ren and Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. Obviously, that's a terrible example because the whole movie is kind of bad anyway. But like from just that fight scene in comparison to the rest of it,
I would say that it doesn't, in that situation, if it's done poorly, it doesn't make it bad. Like it doesn't make the entire movie bad. Is that what you're asking? Like experience,
kind of like on the extreme end, yes.
I would say in that extreme example, no. Do I wish that well, obviously, I've got so much built up that I want to go off on the sequels, but no. Like I still enjoy it. I think that is significant. That is by far the worst lightsaber battle ever. Like it's worse than A New Hope in my mind.
Oh.
Because at least A New Hope, they're swinging a little fast. They're like, whew, whew, whew. And the Rise of Skywalker, it's like the lightsabers are like 30-pound dumbbells. They're like, ah!
Yeah.
It's like one swing every 10 seconds. Like if you count it out, it's like I know that there's actual someone out there who like timed it. Each swing takes on average in that last fight scene, like in the one we're talking about where they're battling in the ocean, I assume. Yeah, in that one, that's like an average of like each swing takes like 2.5 seconds to complete its full arc and strike. Right?
Claymores.
Yes. So it doesn't make it bad, but I'm also just kind of like,
I guess on like the opposite end of that spectrum, if Rise of Skywalker, if that fight on the Death Star wreckage was Obi-Wan versus Anakin levels of good,
it would have made the movie
have
it would have made the movie better in my mind.
as an entirety.
Yes.
Somehow Palpatine returned and they fly now.
It wouldn't have been a redeeming, like something that made it redeemable.
It would have been like the
some,
one shining moment.
Yeah. If I can add, in The Last Jedi, I hate that movie I know we're not talking about the sequels. I just have to get into it.
My fault.
Hate that movie.
I brought it up
with all of my heart. I think it is by far the worst Star Wars movie ever. And it is the worst Star Wars project to have more. It's the worst project to have the Star Wars label slapped on it. I would rather watch the Christmas special than The Last Jedi.
Have you seen the Christmas special?
Yes, it's awful. I
needed to check.
I would rather watch Chewbacca's family celebrate Christmas.
Oh.
I hate The Last Jedi. However, the throne room fight scene redeems the movie enough for me to go, it's not all bad. That's like my thing, right? There's a lot of plot holes. There's so many holes that have been punched in that fight scene that it arguably makes it worse. But just looking at it from like a visual, like from only a visual standpoint, it makes the movie, like if this is the worst it can get, it makes the movie here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Sorry, that was an unnecessary side tangent.
No,
but
I mean, it answered my question. I mean, I don't mean to drag it on any further, but like when it comes to like the strictly like political episodes of the Clone Wars, no lightsabers involved.
Those are the ones that I skip.
And then like you've said in your own mouth that season 2 of The Mandalorian is the best thing to ever have the Star Wars label slapped on it.
Mm-hmm.
All but maybe like 3 of those episodes don't have lightsabers.
All but 3 don't?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So like
I like lightsabers.
I know. That's what we've been talking about. I've just been wanting to get like everything out of you about like
yeah,
like the what ifs.
Yeah.
When it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah. It's just something I like. I don't know if it's because I have ADHD and so naturally I like attract to things that are
I like shiny things.
Yeah, right. Things that are visually appealing to me, like in any movie. I've talked about how the lightning in Moonfall captivated me, even though that movie's hot garbage, right? Mm-hmm. If there's good lighting and there's like a singular object that is visually appealing to my brain, then my brain latches onto it and I go, it's just shiny thing, but in a more serious tone, that's what it is, right? And I think that's why I like lightsabers so much, is because it doesn't matter what's going on, that's easy to follow, right?
That one's purple,
right? And so, yes.
Well, I think you answered my question.
Yeah. It's just something that I enjoy. And again, I'm not saying that the ones in the original trilogy are terrible, because they're not by any standards that Disney produced.
Yeah.
But, and again, if I were to have never seen any other content from Star Wars and I were to grow up in the 70s and 80s and watch those movies, then I wouldn't have any complaints, right? Because that's the only thing I've ever known. But now that we've had the prequels and we've had like The Mandalorian and
we've been given the gold standard.
Yeah, we know that humans are capable of doing that fast, right? Yeah. And exciting. Now I'm kind of like, okay, yes, I have to be the one to say these are a little boring. You can't tell me that you would prefer any fight scene in the original trilogy over Anakin versus Obi-Wan or Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon over Darth Maul, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like even CGI Yoda fighting Dooku and Sidious are still like peak versus the slow movements of the old men from the original trilogy.
Uh-huh. And that's meant to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can ask me a question.
Well, mine, I don't know if I have a question to ask. Okay. I think I just wanted to talk about like, thing that the one quarrel that I do have, and this is probably universal across all of the board, and I don't know if you're the same way. So I guess this is a question I'd like to know. What is your reaction to like unnecessary characters that are built up to be, mind the language, badass, right? Like Phasma or Boba Fett or Jango Fett, right?
I think the best ones are the ones that wasn't the intent. Like Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi became so popular because everyone was like, that guy looks cool. He shoots fire out of his arm and he has a jetpack and he died. Yeah. But like, and so, action figures galore and all of a sudden lore behind a people and a culture and all that. I didn't get that Captain Phasma was like that. I just was like, oh, she's, high ranking. She gets cool special armor that reflects blaster fire. I didn't get the whole like she's elevated to that. I mean,
if I can interject,
go ahead.
I get that from A Force Awakens because they trot her out as if she's like a Darth Vader character. They obviously do it with Kylo Ren a lot more, but every time you see Phasma on screen, she is like supposed to be a Vader-esque presence. And she does have like comics and storylines, and that's how she is in those stories. She is like how she became Captain Phasma is because she is like the creme de la creme of the stormtroopers, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I really do think that like the best written ones and the best showcased ones are the ones that like that was never the intent, just happened to be that way. Like look at like Leia and Padme. They would fall into that definition, but they're not. That is not the intent. Like the whole like Geonosis arena fight, Padme is doing all of that, and she's awesome. She seems to be on top of things, all that. But like her character as a whole was not be like little girls are gonna look to her and they're gonna be inspired because women can be strong too. That's just what happened.
Yeah.
Shout out to my sister. Padme and Leia are personal heroes of hers. But like, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I would say so. Because
like, what examples do you have of ones that like it was done like bad?
I'm trying to think. My obvious one is Phasma because she doesn't accomplish anything. I know that I would probably say also like Vice Admiral Holdo, right?
Laura Dern, right?
We're
talking about the sequels a lot more.
Yeah, but I also just said that because of Boba Fett, right? Yeah. Because not necessarily just Boba Fett, but I guess all of the bounty hunters in episode 5, right? Like they were all shown,
but like
none
of them but Boba
ever actually make it past that. Yeah. So that's just, I know that I only bring that up because I know that Star Wars has done that a lot recently.
Yeah, they're trying to replicate. What's the phrase? There's an actual phrase for this. They're trying. Oh man, it's gonna kill me that I can't remember it. But they're trying to replicate gold in the same freak accident way it happened.
Well, I was gonna say just replicate the magic.
Yeah, they're trying.
Like Boba Fett brought.
Yeah, they're trying to recreate it. And like honestly, if they were trying to go with like the cool like cold, like doesn't speak much but gets a lot done nature of Boba Fett from the original trilogy with like the Mandalorian, I'd say they accomplished that in episode 1 of Mandalorian.
Yeah,
that worked and it was good. But like with like Holdo and stuff, like I didn't get the whole like, oh, she's sacrificing herself, she's being a hero right now. I love her, because the whole time you're just being annoyed. Like Poe Dameron's like the only good written character in this whole trilogy, and what are you doing?
Yeah, and I guess I would also say Finn, right? I think that's kind of where I was going because, this is coming from me, a sequel trilogy again. I'll save this.
We're talking about Star Wars.
I will save this. I guess switching from the movies, because we're to a point where we have to switch from the original trilogy movie wise and talk about original trilogy timeline wise. Rogue One,
I love that movie.
that's
a
probably
lot.
that's like my top. I can't say top 10 because there's only 9, but like my top
With the addition of Rogue One and Solo, there's more than 9.
Okay.
So it is in your top 10.
My top 10.
Was that like a making fun of me or trying to go like reverse?
That was me rewinding.
Oh, okay.
It just didn't work.
It did. That's what it felt like. It's like,
no.
okay.
I would say it's like my movies go.
We're doing the ranking right now. I don't think I'm prepared for that.
No. I'm just like it's like Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One. I would say that Rogue One's probably like my second favorite movie. I love Rogue One.
I really like it.
It's really well made, and it has Vader's hallway scene. And if anyone knows me, Anakin Skywalker is my favorite character, and that includes Darth Vader. There is no other great scene that is perfect in every way in Star Wars. Like, there is not a single flaw with that scene. The lighting, beautiful. Sound effects, beautiful. The story that's going on right in that like minute 30 sequence, beautiful. The heartbreak at the end where you see the guy get sliced in half because Vader stabs him, like, and the emotions, perfect, right? So I love that about Rogue One, and that for sure, lightsabers bumps it up much more. Because they hold off on that entire, like I said before, they hold off the entire movie, and then they, like, where they put it in is, like, the most perfect time to throw the lightsaber and Darth Vader in. Because, like, you watch movies now, any kind of Star Wars project, and you're looking for the big 3, and that's R2-D2, C-3PO, or Darth Vader. Those 3 make an appearance in some shape or form in almost everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when some of them don't show up, you're like, all right, where's my boys?
Yeah.
So I guess that's my thoughts on Rogue One. It's just a good movie, right? And it's got it's got the stuff of the original trilogy, but then they bring so much more color to that timeline, like that time of Star Wars. Because you're used to like the dull colors of the original trilogy due to the cameras.
Yeah.
Like
Technicolor.
When they show Scarif, and you're like, wow, there's beaches in Star Wars. Hawaii.
Sand troopers. Guys look so cool. Yeah, I could record an entire episode about Rogue One, especially now that Andor is more developed.
I'll get there.
I'm so excited for you to see it. Because it's gonna make, like, the season 2 finale and like the series finale of Andor comes out on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to make everything that they've added to is going to make the next rewatch of Rogue One both so much better and so much harder.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I'm excited.
Part of the reason why I asked you about lightsabers is because I knew you were starting to get into Andor, because there's
nothing. Yeah. I think that's why I struggled, because I watched like the first couple episodes of Andor when it came out, and I was like, boring.
It's so good.
But
such a big shout out to Tony Gilroy and his brother Dan. No one shouts out Dan Gilroy, but he helped write it. Tony Gilroy, he wrote Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't him at first, but then the first, like, Star Wars The Dark Ages, I think is what it was originally called, didn't work out. It went to Tony. He's not even a Star Wars fan. He took it on, made it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One feels so grounded.
Yes.
Which
it's easily the realest movie.
What you were talking about with like why the original trilogy is so refreshing, I get that same feeling from Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Because like a lot of today's movies make it feel like it's up out there and like
unbelievable.
Yeah, like wow. this is crazy. I'm just gonna finish the episode like this. I don't even care. But like Rogue One, it feels like yeah, the Empire is a military power, and they I have a light.
Well, yeah, it's not really showing your face much.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People hear my voice, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Campsite horror story.
You can turn it off.
I'm keeping it now.
I'm gonna try to help.
No, it's perfect.
Anyways.
Yeah, and it like I feel like I'm able to watch Rogue One, and it feels like Star Wars, but it really takes the world building to another level. Because where are all these other Star Wars projects with like Solo and Clone Wars and Rebels, where they added to the world building by adding like more things to like help you understand the whole. Rogue One took like 2 lines of dialogue from A New Hope and turned it into a whole movie.
Yeah.
We already know what this is about. This is about them obtaining the Death Star plans. But we learn why it had a flaw, how it was an inside job, the connection between the guy who designed it and how his daughter, all of this, putting Forrest Whitaker in there as a rebellion extremist who huffs drugs. It's not asthma.
It's drugs.
It's drugs. He's addicted on Rhydonium, I think is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
well, and if I can add, like, it's just like its scenes are awesome. There is nothing cooler in that movie to me. Okay, there is something cooler. I love watching the Death Star show up on the horizon
of
Jeddah, even Jeddah. When it shows up on Jeddah and it causes the big shadow like an eclipse. That is so cool. And then when they zoom out and they show the laser blow it up, and both on Jeddah and Scarif, like, that's awesome.
I guess kind of what I'm getting at, what makes Rogue One so like special to me is like where Rebels added to like what life was like with the Empire, and like with what Bad Batch did as well at the very beginnings of it and all. Like Rogue One, and now with Andor too, really made you personally feel what life was like under the tyrannical reign of the Empire.
And what it makes you understand why they're so feared.
Yeah, and like why like the rebellion was so much stronger than you initially just were like, these guys all like, yeah, they're hiding, but they seem pretty well equipped. This worked out pretty well. Like,
yeah,
the sacrifices that went into it.
Well, and
like obviously this has been said before. I'm sorry, I just have to say this.
You're good.
Like nothing, like almost satisfy. Like now, it satisfies me more than anything else than watching everybody die. It makes it so much more.
No
special.
heroic end. Like, that's probably my favorite thing storyline wise of Rogue One.
It's the most heroic thing they could have done.
They don't make it out. If they would have made it out, it would have not been cool. It would have ruined the movie for me.
It would have been like, actually, Cassian Andor, he's on Andor. One of these guys.
He's the dude with the beard.
That's Rex. And this one. They already did that.
No, yeah, I like that a lot. It's just a good, because in certain movies where everyone dies, you're like, this sucked. I didn't want everyone to die. But in Rogue One, like when you get to the end and you see the Death Star show up and they show like the fear on everyone's faces, like even Krennic, the man who made it, he sees it shows up and he's like,
I know what this is capable of.
Oh.
They're turning on me.
It's the Willem Dafoe meme where he's like, it just makes it good, right? It's a movie where you're like, when you get to that point where everyone dies, you're like, yeah. Any other ending would not have been good, right? Like, you're like, this is fitting. This makes sense. I feel like the movie was aiming, like, now that you watch the entire movie, you're like, yeah, I can see how every single thing was pointing towards they're not making it back, right? I really enjoyed that. And to go off of what you said, where it's very grounding, it's like the only Star Wars project where there's very little to do with lightsabers, and there's very little like piloting and space and like the politics.
It's
right?
a Star Wars war movie.
It's very much just like it's just
a World War II.
It's Saving Private Ryan Star Wars. Right? Like it just shows you what it was like you said, what it was like.
Nuclear terror with the Death Star, and like it's
Yeah.
clearly
And it's kind of cool to me also to see like where the Death Star starts, right? You're like, because when you are introduced to it, you're like, kind of the same way you said with like the Rebel Alliance, where you're like, they're pretty set up. You see the Death Star and you're like, wow, blows up planets. Cool.
These guys are strong.
Right? But to see them be like, okay, well, we don't know how this works, so we're just going to blow up this space station and we're going to blow up this mining facility, right?
Yeah, you just take what like you
And
are,
then they
you are
go,
fed, Empire bad,
right?
Rebel good.
Well, and then they have like that scene with, if I can, I know we're getting it close, but just my final thing where they have that scene where Krennic is talking to Vader, and he was like, and Vader's like, the Emperor has like informed the Senate that it was like a mining catastrophe at Jeddah, and that we weren't there, right? Like to see like the manipulation and everything, like really makes you go like, wow, like you said, these guys are awful humans. These are terrible people. But it just adds weight, and it's just a good movie. It for sure deserves its own. But
Well, I have nothing else.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I've emptied the tanks. Until next week when we get to just
So much to say.
sequels.
Back.